Well, good morning there, listeners. You're listening to Going On Daily, and I am your host, Becky, here with our newest member, Mr. Martin. How are you?
I'm good, Becky. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. 8
Good.
a.m., bright and early. There's not a stitch of light outside. It
Look
is
at that.
dark.
Do you have any snow out where you are?
Oh, sir, a lot of
A
snow.
lot of snow. We got some snow last night, and New England,
And it is a cold one today. Oh, did you?
yeah, yeah. No, we got snow, which is recently in recent years unusual. We used typically in New England
Mm,
you get a lot. So I'm like snow. I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's pretty and annoying. So at the same time.
yes. It is currently -2 Fahrenheit here in Edmonton.
Okay.
So for my Canadian listeners and majority of the world listeners, that is -19 Celsius. So yeah, she's chilly today.
Really? Yeah. Bring a jacket. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if my kid wears a jacket. My other one, I'm sure won't. She's with dad tonight or last night and this morning, so I'm sure she won't have a jacket on. They certainly won't have gloves. Why would they? They're
No.
teenagers. They know better.
No.
Obviously, they're no match for frostbite.
Uh, funny.
Oh well.
My
Anyways,
kids
yeah, like I said, welcome to our show. I don't know what MeWe.com broadcasting is, but go check that out at RIBroadcasting.45. I've never heard of that. That is very interesting. Ron will have to tell us about that after the show. You can also check us out on YouTube, of course, at Rhode Island Broadcasting and Facebook at RI Broadcasting, and of course, Twitch, where we seem to have a lot of people watching, RI underscore broadcasting. I see a sign here that says RI Broadcasting is now live streaming Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I really don't know what that means, but
No.
thank you to all of you streaming Call of Duty Black Ops 6 that are
Those
listening
who
today.
do.
We appreciate you. Of course, head over to our Patreon account at All Right Broadcasting and get some swag. Support us. Keep the show going. So we should not say that. Oh, okay. Well, it does say that, Ron. It says
Okay.
All Right Broadcasting is now live streaming Call of Duty. So obviously Ron's behind the scenes playing
Uh-oh.
Call of Duty.
Uh-oh.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really
Oops.
know what it means, but
Oops.
let's
Oops.
see. So we've got a very interesting show for you today. Why don't you start us off here? Banker secrets.
Okay. Well, it's a little trick or not even trick, a process to save some money that I assume that people know about, and many do, but many don't. So I thought, oh, this could be
Mm,
interesting. But lest we be giving out financial advice and I expose myself or this program to any liability, to be clear, I found this really interesting book, and I'm just going to share some of the information in the book and not necessarily endorse it, but it's called The Banker's Secret. I don't know if you could,
perfect.
and it goes copyright 1984. So if I
Okay.
talk a little numbers, they are, you're like, that doesn't sound contemporary at
Now
all. They seem much
inflate them
smaller.
times
Yeah.
10,000, and that's
Yes.
probably
So
more
the
accurate.
scale is different. The
Right.
scale is different, but the
The
process is the
principle
same.
is the same.
The principle. So what not me or this program is proffering, but rather the author Mike Eisenson is saying that look, if you have a mortgage or if any other loan for that
Mhm.
matter, student loans, credit card debt, or whatnot, you could be saving a ton of money and reduce the length of your loan by many, many years by paying a little bit more than the minimum each month.
Mhm.
But again, some people know this, some people don't. But the really interesting thing is, to the degree you do it, it could be profound. And
Mm.
so it's called prepaying, and he goes to mortgage loans a lot for his examples because they make sense. And here's the interesting secret: if you and I'll use his numbers just because they're handy. In today's world, they would be the
Mhm.
magnitude would be
Right.
larger, higher orders, but the numbers work regardless of the scale.
Mhm.
If you had a loan amount, let's say a mortgage for $75,000, and that's a
Ooh,
nice, all right, that would be a nice mortgage
that's a
at
that's
an
a tiny
interest,
trailer in the
right?
South.
But the interest rate is 10%. So these are definitely
Mm.
1984 numbers.
Wow,
Okay?
yes.
For 360 months. Um, you will make monthly payments, okay, of about $658 per month. Okay,
Mhm.
you should ask your bank to print out a statement that will describe the payment structure of how much of that money goes to principal and how much goes to interest. And when you get that payment structure, what you will find is in the early days of the loan, most of that payment is going to service interest, and
Mhm.
any of it is going to reduce your principal. So you can do one of two things with this information. One, you could just prepay a random number a little bit more
Mhm.
and direct that to pay down the principal. So whatever money you pay over and above your monthly payment is going to reduce the principal. But if you look at that chart of the payouts, and you can see, all right, this month my first payment, $500 of that 625 is going to service interest, and only 125. It might be higher. It might be more like 600. All right. And
Wow.
25 is going to reduce principal. Look at your
Wow.
next month's payment. You will see that the amount going to principal has kicked up a little bit, but not much. And the amount going to interest goes down a little bit. So for an extra, if month one is, let's say, 600 to interest, 25 to principal, month two might be $25.10 to principal, and then that reduction of 10 cents going to interest. So
Hmm.
you don't have to make a full payment of what your home mortgage payment would be. You could just
Right.
pay that $25.10, and that
Interesting.
reduces, you have just serviced your second interest payment, which was about $600. And as time
Wow.
goes on in the loan, once you cross the midway point of the loan, that reverses. Most of your money is going to do the principal and that
Right.
amount to interest. But in the early months of the loan, that amount of that principal payment extra, okay, will go to eliminate an entire loan payment and save you hundreds, and in today's scale, thousands of dollars of interest
Wow.
payments every month. And that will work with your student
That's
loans,
wild.
your credit card payment. Okay. So a little bit more can save you an enormous amount in interest. So
Wow.
thank you,
Who
Mark.
knew?
Right? I not
Yeah, right.
come up with this. I just read this interesting book, but
That
it's,
makes sense.
yeah,
Now,
perfectly legal and anyone can
that
do
right. Yeah, most loans are fairly open-ended, so you're not penalized for paying like,
it. Yeah,
we just bought new vehicles for both of us, and we
sure.
needed to make sure, like, are these open so that when we wanna
Yes.
pay them
Yes.
off, we're
Mhm.
not stuck in a 7-year loan for a vehicle, at
Absolutely.
$200 a month and $250 a month for interest,
Right.
So, wow, okay, that's good to
Yeah.
know. I have friends, well, more like old coworkers, but he was 40 at the time, him and his wife, and their mortgage was already paid off. They lived in a very beautiful house, but the two of them, had good jobs. He had consistent money. She was a nurse. They consistently put extra on their mortgage every month. And by the time they were 40, it was completely paid off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where most of us are going to be paying it off till we're 60.
Yeah, and yes, yeah. So the key is to do it early in the loan, where you can get more bang
Mhm.
for your buck, and that makes a
Really.
and people with student loans look at this. The other thing too is, I suppose, if you have a very good interest rate, and there were times in the not too distant
Mhm.
future where it may behoove you not to do it, because you can use that extra money can earn more in other vehicles, and that's up
Mhm.
to you
Right.
to decide. But think about it. Look at your
Mhm.
situation. Look at the nature of your loan and ask your bank to print out, a repayment statement so you see month to month what precisely is going to principal and what to
Mhm.
interest, and see what you can do. And there's lots of ways to do. You can make one extra payment a year, but when you break it out, just a little bit more sometimes buys you a lot. It's worth thinking.
Mhm. My husband actually mentioned this recently. He said, maybe at the end of the year we should put down if we have it. We're very blessed, where we are. We're very middle class, right? My husband has a good job. We have the ability to put down a little bit of an extra chunk, right? Unfortunately, not everybody in today's
No,
economy, America I know is in this a very similar situation to Canada where everything is insanely
sure.
priced. We're trying to make ends meet. We have the same wages as we did 5 years ago, but everything has gone up
Hmm.
exponentially. So, if you have the ability to do that, throw on a little bit of extra, like you said, especially in the beginning of your loan. I'm thinking too, even these student loans that have very little interest rate, putting down that extra bit of money is just going to go straight to principal very
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I always hear about these people with student loans, and I'm sure your wife is a doctor, your
He
daughter's
had
going to school to be a lawyer.
She had student loans that were unbelievable. The
I can
numbers would
imagine.
scare you because it was fully financed. But one thing we did, but it paid off. There was a pay date for that. But for our kids, we managed to not
Mhm.
burden them with student loan debt. And I realized that is a point of privilege, and
Mhm. Of
wasn't
course.
easy. But my wife paid handsomely, handsomely for the
Yes.
student.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know when my first daughter was born, now she's 14, my ex-husband said, "Oh, I made some appointment with someone for an RESP, so a registered education savings, um, account for her, and this guy's gonna come over." I had no idea. I was 22 years old. I had no idea about anything.
Sure.
And, so the guy came over and he basically said, "You can put anything aside a month, but in Canada, if you have the minimum of $170 a month to the maximum of $250 a month, if you put that aside every month in this RESP,
Mm.
then Canada will match X amount of
Oh
dollars
my goodness.
and up it." So, so we did the minimum 170, which, again, as 2 20-year-olds, like, with a baby,
That was
$170 was a lot.
significant.
So then when my second daughter was born, of course, we had to do the same thing. So $340 a month is going towards my children's education. Now, I never had that. I had to pay for all my own schooling, and nothing against my parents, it's just the situation we were in.
Sure.
Um, but by the time my kids are 18 and ready to go to school, with the contributions from the government, or the grants or whatever, they'll have about 50,000 apiece. So, in today's day and age, that might get you a degree, maybe if you live at home,
Mhm.
maybe. But, we're really hoping that my oldest one gets some scholarships.
Mhm.
That's what I'm banking on.
I mean, it's a
But
lot of ways to put the puzzle together, right? But that's
yeah.
free money from the government is nothing to sneeze at. I don't. That's
Well,
marvelous.
you're right, it's not. I don't even know if it's from the government. I don't know who's matching it,
Whoever
but I know
manages.
that if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
whomever it is, they will
Mhm.
up it. So I think we put in about 30,000 of our own, and then the government puts in about 20,000, or whomever, sorry, I shouldn't say the government. Again, I this was a conversation I had when my kids were
Right.
brand new.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
a lot's happened since then, but
that's some good planning and a kind gift to your for your children too.
yeah, and the thing is too, if your child does not go to college, so it either has to be 2, diploma programs, so 2 two-year programs, or
Mhm.
1 degree program, so a 4-year program. If they do anything different than that, like if they went for a certificate or trades or something like that, it would not count. It has to be 2 diplomas
Great
or
program.
1 degree. But if not, then that money just comes right back to me.
No,
So it's not
win-win.
like I've, 18 years of putting in
Right.
money has been lost, right?
Sure. No.
But yes, I mean, money's a tough one when it comes to families. There are I would say probably a lot of marriages end in divorce
Sure. Oh yeah.
because of
Yeah.
money, right? And so speaking of divorces, like I came across this article yesterday from a therapist named Nadia Adesi, and I found her online. Says that she's a registered social worker and psychotherapist, and she shares mental health tips every day. And I just thought it was interesting. And I should preface this by saying my original first topic was going to be talking about Taylor Swift causing divorces. I mean, that's a pretty general statement, but I just didn't want to do that topic today. So it was going to lead into that with this one, but I thought, no, I'm still gonna talk about this one today.
Okay.
So, most of us have been in a relationship at some point. I've been married twice. Relationships are tough, and it's important to have good communication and to talk, right? Talking is tough. I find that I can talk on a podcast. Can I talk in a relationship? Not really. I don't
Different
like to
different ball of wax entirely.
I don't like to
Okay.
rock the boat, especially
Yeah.
because I'm divorced. My first marriage ended in divorce, and I liked to rock the boat a lot, and I
Mhm.
didn't wanna do that again.
Okay.
So, here is a list of 15 uncomfortable but healthy questions to ask in any relationship, and
Excellent.
I was reading them and I was like, "Ooh, I would never," but, here it is. It's really important to ask each other these questions so that you can reflect and grow together. So, here it is. What's something about me that you think I should work on, but you haven't told me? Like, I mean, if you're a defensive person, you're setting yourself up for
Oh
a
yeah.
fight.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. If your partner's like, "Well, actually, you're kind of a bitch." Like,
Yeah.
you're not a very
Yeah,
nice person,
work
right?
on that. Work on that, would you?
Right, yeah. Number 2, do you feel like we truly understand each other, or are we just avoiding the hard conversations? That's a good one to
Yes.
discuss. That's me.
Very healthy.
I would be like, "Yes, I am. I'm avoiding it." What's one habit I have that you find frustrating but haven't brought up? It's true. Like, some of those things you kinda liked about your partner when you first get together, 10 years into it, you're just like, "If he makes that noise again."
One more
Like
time.
Number 4, is there a moment when I hurt you that's or oh, sorry, when I hurt you that still lingers and I might not realize it? That's a good one. That's a deep one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're growing together, or are there areas where we are drifting apart? So again, this is all based on honesty and vulnerability because if you're going into this, with walls up, if your partner has walls up, this is going to be a very hard conversation. Like it says, it is an uncomfortable conversation piece to have with your partner, but I think it's so valuable. So, what's one thing you've kept to yourself because you're afraid of how I might react? Oof.
Mm,
Do you feel emotionally safe enough with me to share everything, even the difficult stuff? Sorry, I might have to cough here.
that's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Have there been moments when you felt unsupported or misunderstood by me? Now, again, I'm picturing I have a husband. I've had 2 husbands. Neither of them love to be emotional. I'm
Mm,
thinking like if I'm asking these questions, how are they going to react to it? Are they going to be open-minded to this or are they going to be like really closed up? I don't know. What is something from your past that still affects our relationship today?
mhm,
That is a deep one. That is very deep. What's a fear you have about our relationship that you've never shared with me? Do you ever feel like you need to hide certain parts of yourself in our relationship? What do you need from me right now that you feel like I'm not giving? We've got 3 more here. Do you
tomorrow.
feel like I genuinely support your dreams and goals, or do I sometimes dismiss them? I think this is a good one,
Yes.
especially for, a woman to ask I'm saying their husband or their boyfriend or whatever, just because I know that sometimes in these heterosexual relationships, uh, I how do I put this without offending people? Um, I think sometimes men can be emasculated by their partners, by their female partners in relationships. I think, they men feel like, their one job is to provide or to take care. And when the woman belittles that or makes him feel like he's not doing a good enough job or he doesn't get to live out what his dreams are, there's going to be a lot of resentment there. He's going to feel unsupported. And men do feel these things. And you're a man. So, I'm obviously preaching to the choir here. Men have feelings that I think as women, we sometimes take for granted because we have the feelings. Like you're just supposed to be there, be
Mhm.
strong.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. These are tough questions.
They are, but, they're good questions. They're almost
Mhm.
essential questions. And
Mhm.
and then in my experience with my wife, and geez, we've been married 34 years and together
Wow,
for
congratulations.
40, going on 4, I mean, that, which is those are big numbers, but,
Yes.
um, I think we were lucky in that early on, we were in a situation where we addressed these questions
Mhm, mhm.
head on and directly, and it was invaluable. Here's the dirty secret here. They need to be revisited, and,
Mhm.
especially if you're with someone for a long time. They
Yes.
need it's like bringing the car in for the, 50,000-mile tune-up, and
Mhm.
the questions can be just as challenging, 10 years into it, even
Yes.
if you've gone over it, but to do so keeps the car running, keeps the marriage running
Yes.
well. And I could just say in my experience without wanting to sort of hijack this, it's interesting because as a person, as a man, sometimes I'm very receptive, other times I'm not. And to my discredit,
Mhm.
if we're in the midst of something, I'm usually very receptive, but
Mm.
maybe my wife isn't. but then she'll
Mhm.
become, let's say, a couple hours later or a couple days later, receptive, and then I'm not
And then
because
you're not. Of course.
so and so that's a dance, right? So to the extent that we or anyone can break that dance, do something
Mhm.
different, that's good. And look, let's be in 40 years. Sometimes we can, and sometimes we
For
don't.
sure.
But it's not a one and done. It's an ongoing thing, and that's
Mhm.
a great list. I don't know if on
Mhm.
the show you post things or print them or send links, but it would be. I think that's a great list for people to
Yeah.
go to. And
Yeah, it's definitely, and I think so many people don't have these conversations. Like, I was 27 years old getting a divorce, and no one in my family had gotten divorced before. We
mhm,
came like I grew up in a like a Christian home,
yeah,
where that wasn't a thing, like people didn't get divorced. People just
mhm,
kind of sucked it up. And I
right.
mean, that's great. I think it is important to work on your marriage and commit to your marriage and stuff. And I just couldn't handle it. And now my brother's going through a divorce. Or my current husband, he's divorced prior to me, and it's just like all of my friends are starting to get like, it's sad. We live in a time where we're not having these conversations. Becky started a trend. Thanks, Ron.
Becky's
Yeah, I'm a real trendsetter
it was your family and your
in my
friends that
circle. Yeah, for sure.
this is where it all
There's
ground
something in the
zero,
water here.
ground
Okay.
zero. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But,
yeah,
I wasn't ready to have these conversations by any means, or if I was, maybe my ex-husband wasn't. There's 2 more, and then we can get to
sure.
our next topic here. But number 14 is, what's the hardest truth about our relationship that we've been avoiding? Sometimes it's tough to address the elephant in the room, but you gotta do it. And
Yeah.
then finally, if we could change one thing about how we communicate, what would it be? That's a really good one. I have terrible communication. Podcast, great. Relationships.
You need to do a podcast with your husband. There you go.
Yeah, well, he doesn't listen to my
Yeah,
podcast. He's not a podcast guy.
yeah.
So I could just,
Nah,
air all my issues on a podcast that I never post and just put it on it while he's driving or
there you
something.
go. That's an interesting idea. I can tell you one other thing too. Hard conversation, but if you have these conversations and you both come from a place of, let's say love, respect, and affection,
Mhm. Mhm.
you end up in a good place. That's
Right.
the good news of these hard
Yeah,
conversations. There's a
for
silver
sure.
lining. Yeah.
I I have found, like, through going through cancer, and yeah, I took advantage of the counseling through the cancer center. Um, and so I had one counselor there who said, "Why don't you bring your husband in and let's
Mhm,
discuss it?" It was more like physical appearance and even sexual health. Like, it was this kind of counselor. She
mhm,
said, "Bring your husband in." It ended up just, like turning into marriage counseling. And but we would it would get nasty in this
mhm,
Zoom call. And then afterwards, I'd be mad, and then, within an hour, I'm like, "Man, what a weight. What a weight's been taken off." Like,
mhm.
I feel
Yes.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hard conversations, I think, are really important, and if you let it, there's a lot of growth there.
Yes.
What
Absolutely.
does Ron say? "My last
Yes.
relationship went down in burning flames, but I did learn a lot from her in the relationship." Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Don't hold anything against a partner if your relationship ends. Like, learn from it and grow
Yeah.
from it. You know what you don't want
Sure.
now, and you know how you don't want people to treat you, and
Mhm.
how you don't wanna treat people. So, yeah, there's a lot to learn from
And how
asking
often
questions.
yes, how often are second marriages for both partners more successful because of that,
Yes.
right? There's
Yes,
wisdom, knowledge, self-knowledge,
for
and
sure.
so you're ready to go to proceed then with
Yeah,
that.
and quite often in a first marriage too, you have kids and you're young, and
Mhm.
there's all that stress, the money stress
Sure.
and things like that. And, for me, I was 35 when I got married again, and he was 37. So, um, a little bit more mature than 22 and 20.
Yes.
So, we learned a lot more
Yes.
in
Yeah.
this
Well,
second round.
and bravo. Good. How
Yes,
wonderful
bravo.
for both
Thank
of you.
you.
That's great. Yeah, and for anyone
Yes,
going through
for
that. Yeah.
sure.
That was great.
Yeah, interesting. I know, I read them and I was like, "Whew, let's talk about it to some boys playing some video games." How to talk to their partners.
Yeah.
All right, I'm interested to know about this Richard Wagner. I don't
Wagner,
even know.
Richard
Oh,
Wagner.
Wagner.
Right.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense
Number 10.
then.
I was gonna say, so, do you like opera?
I
Please feel
love
free to say
classical music.
you do love it, okay.
I
So
love it.
Opera is, the canary in the coal mine is saying, I think it's an art form that may be always with us, but we're past
Yes.
peak opera. But I do like it, and part of it is because I do like, I'm drawn into the music. But as a person who
Yes.
worked in theater, as I was studying theater, I was drawn into the drama, and opera is as much a product of theater as
Mm,
it is music.
yeah.
And Richard Wagner's operas, though not for everyone, are very much super grounded in theater. And
Mm,
most people will not go see a Wagner opera, and that's fine. Most people will
okay.
not want to know, but I'm here to tell you that whether you want to or not, Richard Wagner, in many, many ways, his work has influenced your life.
Mm,
And
interesting.
yeah, one could talk hours about that, and I won't, but I narrowed it down to one particular thing from his opera Lohengrin, which whether M most people, I've not seen it, and I like his opera, but I've listened to it. I know it.
Mhm.
You know the music from Lohengrin, guaranteed, whether or not
Okay.
not.
Well,
And,
according to Ron, it's in every movie ever with classical
um,
music.
well, classical music certainly is, to use, right, but from there is a, uh wedding song that after this wedding
Mm,
of Lohengrin, the night of the Holy Grail, and he is the Swan Knight. He arrives in a boat pulled by a swan, and he
mm.
saves a heroine. They are wed, and then after the wedding, they are brought to the chamber, and there is a chorus, and that music goes bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum, and
Yes,
just about
right.
everyone plays it at their wedding, not knowing it's from a German opera in the
Yeah,
1850
right.
that they ever heard of and never are going to see. But it's ubiquitous in our culture. And again, not some people won't have music though, but if there is wedding music played, right, you're going to have the wedding march, and that comes from Lohengrin.
Mm,
It was
cool.
Richard Wagner, yeah. So when I was, I don't know, 19 when I found that, I was like, "What? Really? How? Why?" But I'm like, "Wow, that's very,
Mhm.
very interesting." So, music is beautiful from the opera, and if one likes
Yes.
Marvel movies, you actually might enjoy Wagner operas because it's about heroes and superheroes and gods and villains and
Interesting.
giants and the earth being, threatened and rescued by heroes and being destroyed and reinvented, and all of this plays out
Oh,
in his dramas. And some of the characters in his operas you will see in Marvel movies too, maybe under slightly different spellings of the
interesting.
names. But these are the stories. And back in the 19th century, we didn't have Marvel, we didn't have Netflix, but you could go to the theater and see the spectacle,
Wow.
and with some interesting scenography for the day, but then the music sort of filling in what we do with the special effects today. It all happens with the
Mhm.
music. So there's our Lohengrin.
You know, and not to bash the people of today by any means. We're a product of our environment, but man, people were so talented
Oh,
back then.
well, there were different. There wasn't TV, there wasn't film. So if you wanted to do something, you painted or you wrote epic
Mm,
poems or you composed, enormous symphonies or operas, or you built
mhm.
castles. You did what you could, and they left a legacy for us still to enjoy today. There's no
Right.
reason why you can't. And you can enjoy both too. But why deny yourself the splendors of generations and centuries past? Because it's still out there.
Yes, absolutely, and it's still so relevant, like, you listen to, not just opera, but any sort of classical music, and there's just such peace with it, and then
Oh,
it
sure.
builds, and then it drops, and then it's just peaceful again. These songs are an hour long, you
Yeah,
know?
some of them, yeah, yeah. But
And I'm just thinking, like, the people who had to learn all this, who had to play it, I'm just thinking someone on an air instrument where you're or whatever you call it, where you're having to breathe that
oh,
for an
sure.
hour,
Yeah,
or their finger, like,
very
it's
different.
wild.
The great thing about it is it's not just the genre of the music, but the tradition dictates that it must be played with a high degree of virtuosity.
Mhm.
That if I like, contemporary music, I love rock music. If there's
Right.
something that frustrates me with it is it does not always demand that level of virtuosity, and sometimes you get it,
Mm.
but certainly with
Mhm.
singers, you can't deny that. and some musicians, look, are better than others,
Right.
and
Yes.
I miss the virtuosity, but in the classical
Yes.
realm, it's that's the entry fee. You can't be mediocre and perform. And to hear
No.
someone at the top of their game, do something, do anything is really quite wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting about that. I think every generation gets a little less virtuous, perhaps, as far as music goes.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare, music of Wagner's day compared to, let's say, I don't know, female rappers of today.
Mhm.
You know it's sad to me that there's such a decline. Yeah, there's a market for everything and people like different things, but, um, I just think music of today is easy. Like, you had to be pretty, or you had to be an attractive person with
Right.
good technology to tune everything. You didn't have to be this insanely talented musician or, composer or whatever. Like, look at who was it, Beethoven? What was he deaf?
Yes. He
And he
not always, but
created
he went deaf, and he composed. He was deaf when he was
insane.
composing the ninth. Yeah, yeah. It's impressive. And in today's world, it's not that there aren't people without virtuosity, but to your point, I think a lot of time there's money to be made, big money
Yes.
in music,
Well, sex
and
sells, yes.
we may think people may think that we're the tastemakers. Well, we're just responding to what we like, but as much, if not more often than not, companies are dictating this is the taste and they're setting the standard,
Mhm,
and then you sort of follow along. There are
mhm.
breakouts, and these breakouts change everything, and then everyone jumps on the bandwagon. Well, give us more of that, give us more of that. But so much of it is prefabricated, and now with AI, oh my god, it's interesting to see where music's going to be in 5 or 10 years. But if one goes to the '70s, and that was my era, I
Mhm.
believe I'm going to guess I'm probably about 10 plus years older than you. So whenever you started listening to music, you'll have your own feelings about it. But to me, in the
Right,
'70s, what I liked so much is not that I loved everything, but there was so much diversity. There was
right.
and there was so much uniqueness. And to break out, you really weren't just modeling what the last hit was. You had to
Mhm,
establish your own musical voice, vocal voice, instrumental voice, compositional
mhm.
voice. And I miss that because I
Yes.
don't see that in abundance.
Well, I love classic rock. That's probably my favorite genre is, 70s. Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
is one of my favorite bands. Queen is one of my favorite bands.
Mm.
Styx, like these
Yeah.
sort of, I don't know, these bands where you have these, people in it who are there because they are talented,
Mhm.
and there's merit in that. Like, let's put it this way. You could be famous back then and not have a nice looking face, right? You didn't become famous because you were an attractive man or an attractive
Yeah.
woman. You became famous because there was some raw talent
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
And I'm just picturing these guys, like, let's say Led Zeppelin, they're kids at the time, they're
Yeah.
probably just high in mom's basement,
Yeah.
and they're just like, "Man, what if we," and they just start doing stuff, and, like, man, it's mind-blowing. I love
The
it. I miss that, and there are definitely still bands that do that, of
Oh, for sure.
course. Rock music, you can't get away being untalented in rock music because they're all playing their own instruments. I think pop music is kind of
Mm.
where we're, going off the rails a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Do
but
better. That's all we're saying. Do better.
do better, write your own music, man, learn
Yeah.
an instrument.
Yeah. I remember what was the thing? I forgot. Guitar Hero came out, and
Yes,
I played it. It was fun, and I thought, all right,
that was fun.
this is cute. But I said, in and people are getting good, and they're working at it. And I just said, in the time you're spending in this, you could have actually learned an instrument, right?
Literally,
You just
right,
learn the guitar, and because this is fun.
totally.
But playing that guitar or whatever your instrument is, is more
Mhm.
fun. It's much more fun. Orders of magnitude
I
more.
bet. Well, you see the fruits of your labors by learning an instrument. You're on Rock Band or Guitar Hero or whatever, you're just pressing buttons that don't actually make noise.
Yeah.
So, like actually learning an instrument and hearing what comes out of it. I mean, that must be I don't know how to play an instrument, so I don't know. It's just I've always wished I could. But realistically, I'm 38 years old. What is stopping me from?
Nothing. Oh,
learning?
go learn an instrument. Honest to God, I'm 61, and I was talking with. I have a lot of musician friends because I've worked in theater and music, and still
Mhm.
involved with the variety show. And I said, if I were to do it again, I'd like to learn the guitar family, particularly the lute
Mm.
and theorbo, and these are Renaissance instruments.
Oh, yes.
And just because I like the sound of them, they buzz different.
Right.
And my friend David said, in all earnest, and we always tease each other, but he wasn't teasing me. He goes, "Do it, man.
Why
why
not?
not? Do it." So if he says that to me at 61, I'll say to you at 38. But just start, and
I know.
it'll be some hours, but you at the end
Yeah.
of 6 months or a year, you'll be amazed at what you can do, and it will probably bring you some joy.
Totally. Well, I've said a lot lately, "Ugh, my brain, chemo did a number on my brain.
Mhm.
I don't remember things." Like, my short-term memory is fairly poor compared to what it
Okay.
used to be, and it is what it is. Um, but I've started learning German. I remember learning it in high school.
Ah,
I did it for 3 years in high school. I mean, so you're limited of what you learn, but I picked up Duolingo, which is like what the kids have to learn
mhm.
languages on, and I think I'm on day 100. Not that I'm fluent by any means, but I'm actually impressed that my brain can learn these things,
Das ist gut.
and yes, das ist sehr gut. And, it's just it's crazy what your brain can
Yeah.
really do. Your brain is so moldable, and we are
Yes.
so talented. I think we're just numbing it, with by not exercising it,
Yes.
by
Yes.
just scrolling, doom scrolling, man, that is so hard on the brain.
It get right, and it's just that it's passive. And by the way, and you could doom
Right.
scroll, and if you're scrolling doom instead of joy scrolling, that's another thing. But it's
That's fair.
passive. But if you pick up a language that's interactive, if you do pick up an instrument, it will stimulate the parts of your brain where it's not just intellect, but it's that muscle memory in your body
Mhm.
too. And in time,
Yes.
that's going to kick in. That will,
Mhm.
and it's amazing what that remembers and what nerves you might be stimulating by doing that. So,
Mhm.
well, you know best, but it's marvelous that you're studying German
Yeah.
again, and who knows? But 38 is a good age to be. Believe me, that's a good to start new
Thank
stuff. So,
you.
hey,
I
yeah,
think, me of maybe 2 years ago wouldn't have agreed with you, but, after having the last year or 2 that I had, I'm very thankful to turn 38.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Look,
happy to be here.
35 is better than 38. I'll cop to that.
35
But
was pretty alright, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, but when I was 35, it was, like, mid-COVID, and it
yeah,
sucked, so, I
tough.
didn't get to enjoy a lot of the things I
No,
wanted to,
we
so
were all shortchanged of those years for sure.
yes, we were.
All
Ah, well.
right.
Oh, well. Alright, well, let's get into this one. I've been doing a little thing here, a little segment on the ocean is a weird place. The ocean is a terrifying place. The ocean has a lot of weird creatures living in it. And I came across this little guy here. So, the one that Ron picked here is what a lot of them look like, this little brown guy.
Mhm.
This one here right behind me is called a rainbow mantis shrimp. I love shrimp. I love shellfish. I don't want to ever eat this guy. I'm sure people do.
It's
But
beautiful.
he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
He's fascinating though. Like, just wait. I like to pick these animals that are so bizarre, and Ron was really blown away by the anglerfish. I mean, the blobfish, I found that one super weird as well, but this one is definitely going to be on there of things that make Ron be like, "What? Are you serious?" So this little aggressive crustacean here, they inhabit the tropical and subtropical regions of Indian Oceans, Pacific Ocean, kind of between Eastern Africa and Hawaii. So in that general area where I assumed it would be.
Okay.
They are deadly, able to club their prey with the force of a bullet or spike them with their claws. So you can kind of see
Mhm.
here their little
Mm.
claws. It doesn't look like much, but apparently it is. Ron, what? Yeah, we're
What
getting there.
what? Yeah, yeah.
They can live for 3 to 6 years, and some of them even up to 20 years, I guess, in the right conditions.
Mm.
They're not very big. They're only gonna be about 4 to 8 inches or 10 to 20 centimeters. So, I mean, realistically, like, my hand's about 7, so, not huge by any means. They only weigh between 12 and 90 grams. Again, that's not very much.
No,
That's
no.
that's pretty light. Their diet consists of things like fish, crab, worms, shrimp. They're obviously carnivores. Their top speed, they can reach 30 body lengths per second, so that's pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their predators are humans, yellowfin tuna, and larger fish, and they are not considered endangered. So let me find the fun facts here. So these mantis shrimp can be divided into the spearers or the smashers. So, based
Okay.
on the type of claws they have, the tactics they use to kill prey. So, the spears have these appendages with barbed tips they use to stab soft bodied prey, such
Mm,
as like worms and fish and things like
okay.
that. Smashers have a more developed club like appendage that they use to bludgeon and smash their prey to pieces.
Uh,
Crazy. Smashers, this is wild, can punch at the same velocity as a gunshot from a 22 caliber rifle.
that's
So, this guy weighs 8 ounce or 8 grams, like, and he can smash the
mm,
heart. It says
mm.
that they have 2 raptorial appendages that they call dactyl clubs on the front of their bodies, and they use them to punch their prey. These fists are spring-loaded, able to accelerate from their body at over 50 miles per hour, delivering a force of over 1,500 newtons, enough to smash through crabs and clamshells. The
Oh, man.
psychos of the ocean, Ron says,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Watch out.
Don't piss off a mantis crab, okay? Or a mantis shrimp. It's
Mm-mm.
crazy.
I
This
see
is
it makes you
wild.
think of a board game, the smashers and the
And
spearers,
the
you
spears,
just right
yeah.
there,
I'm
yeah.
thinking that the smashers probably
Mm.
do a lot more damage
Oh
than the spear.
god.
Although, I mean, being speared is, probably gonna kill
They seem to be more
something as
fit
well.
they have more finesse. They're the more elegant of the 2, I think, in
That's
the way
right.
they
That's right.
commit murder. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. This
Uh,
one is so bizarre. Their punch is so fast, it results in the cavitation bubbles. This is superheated bubble and a small flash of light, which for a split second also generates temperatures of 4,400 degrees Celsius, which is
oh,
nearly as hot as the sun in the surrounding water. What? When the
that
bubbles
is
collapse, they
huh.
cause an intense shock wave, which is like a double punch and can stun, dismember, or kill prey instantly, even if the mantis shrimp misses the target.
Mm,
Like, what? Rod, what the hell?
yeah,
Yes, literally. It's it like, I'm speechless. Like,
yeah,
I can't
oh yeah,
even picture this tiny little thing
yeah,
creating this much power.
okay.
They can crack and punch holes in aquarium glass. Says they're highly desired as, like, a pet, but they require very special aquariums.
Yeah.
When they encounter an obstacle that they wish to move, they often try to punch their way out. They have been known to attack their own reflections through the glass.
Mm. How much do you wanna bet that if not already, soon, these will be the favorite pets of drug cartel lords?
Right. They just throw you in a
Yeah.
some water with a mantis shrimp.
Well,
You're
not
like,
just
"What is
no,
that gonna do?"
not even so much as a tool, but that's interesting too. But like this is got the kind of thing like I want praying mantis shrimp in a tank. But I don't care.
Right,
Spend what it can. I want a whole tank of these killer things
right.
because
Like, I want a
they're like
shark.
me. Yeah, I want
Yeah.
a shark. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so true.
the
Crazy.
universe is a fascinating place. Never
Yes, it
gets
is. It
dull.
takes all kinds, that's for sure.
Well, where did you
So that
find this? What were you perusing that where you came across
I came
this little
across just
beauty?
some random Facebook thing about anglerfish, and I'd clicked on it and I read it and I was like, "That is bizarre.
Yeah.
I wanna do it." And it took Ron aback so much that I thought, "Okay, let's go with this," because the ocean is a wonderful and wild place, and I
Yes.
thought, "Okay, let's just find." So I typed in weird animal or weird ocean creatures and came across a list, and one of them that just stuck out to me was this rainbow mantis, and I just thought, "Man, it's beautiful," and then I
Yeah.
clicked on it, and it says that there's some anti-cancer stuff, so just wait till we get into that. It's bizarre.
It's there's much to learn about this, and I bet there are people that are
Yeah,
working on their PhDs or whatnot on this right now.
totally.
See what they're gonna see what they're gonna find. Yeah,
But I
that
think
is
it's probably
amazing.
hard to study because this little guy
Yeah,
will smash the you won't be able to get anywhere near him without, his
right.
he's like I'm trying to think, I don't know Marvel movies, but what's the one that, like, is he's got a hand in it? I can't remember. The
Oh, the
gauntlet.
Hulk. Oh, the
Oh, well,
Gauntlet
that
might be Thor. Thor with the
yeah,
hammer, maybe?
that's what I'm
Going
yeah,
back to Wagner. Yeah, okay. Going back.
that's right, that's
Yeah.
right. See, it's all
Oh, we've come
connected.
full circle now. Here we go. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it says that the clubs, on their hands or their appendages have a special shock absorbent core which stops them from breaking. So beneath that hard coated club, they have this special layer of elastic polysaccharide. I don't even know what this word is. Chitin, which are positioned in a way to act as a shock absorber. The
Mm,
structure, it keeps small cracks from becoming a full break. Isn't that
mm.
crazy? It says that
Yeah,
researchers have even studied the cell structure for
sure.
advanced body armor for
Yeah,
combat troops, car frames, and aircraft panels.
I
Totally.
believe it. Makes perfect
They'll
sense.
go they'll have to go extinct then because everyone will be harvesting this polysaccharide compound in the inside.
It This is where society goes off the rails, though. Once they
Yeah.
isolate some utility for this, then
Yeah.
what you hope doesn't happen is this race now to mine them for whatever reason. Now, if you're
Yeah.
looking at them for engineering tips and inspirations, and that's
Mhm.
one thing. But if they start secreting something that can bring a
Right.
benefit, I'm not saying don't harvest them, but don't do it irresponsibly because not
Yeah.
only will you will mess up the entire ecosystem down
Ecosystem, of
there.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just picturing ivory. Like,
Mm,
that's what I thought of when you
sure.
said that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know. That's sad. Okay, these guys aren't actually shrimp. They're mantis. Oh,
yeah.
no, they're not a mantis. Sorry, I read that wrong. They're not shrimp or mantis. It's not even related to a praying mantis. It's just a type of 450 different species belonging to the order of Stomatopoda. So
Ah,
it's not shrimp. It's not a mantis either. Okay, let me find here. I'll go past a couple of these. I'm just trying to think of what's the most exciting thing. They have the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom and have the most complex vision system ever discovered. They can see a special spiraling type of light called circularly polarized lights that's not been documented in any other animal. They
hmm.
also have a structure in their eyes that's similar to technology found in a DVD player, only much more advanced.
Oh my
Like,
goodness. They
what?
they're gonna make next generation of digital music is gonna be these things, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need a DVD player or a record player. You've got your mantis
You're gonna
shrimp
like
just
this. Yeah, yeah.
staring at it, and the sound comes out of his mouth. It says that the mantis shrimp has 12 to 16 different color photoreceptors for color analysis in their retinas, 3 times more than humans.
Oh
It says
boy.
that they have significantly more photoreceptors, but it suggests that they're actually worse at differentiating color than humans. I mean, okay, I guess that makes sense. Scientists believe that this is because their eyes are operating at a different level, functioning more like a satellite. It's
Mm,
believed that the mantis shrimp can take all visual information into their brains immediately without having to process it, allowing them to react instantly in their environments.
that is a
It's crazy.
fascinating animal. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just do a couple more because I know we're running out of time here.
It's
The
okay.
mantis shrimp can detect cancer cells with their eyes. It says that researchers from the University of Queensland believe the compound in their eyes can detect cancer lesions and the activity of neurons because they have the ability to detect polarized light that reflects differently from cancerous and healthy tissues before they appear as even tumors. It's inspired a group of researchers to build a proof of concept camera sensor inspired by the mantis shrimp's ability.
Fantastic.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what on earth? It says that they're older than dinosaurs. They're monogamous, remaining with the same partner for up to 20 years if they live that long.
Okay.
And of course,
They
I
ask
was
the hard
wondering,
questions. They ask each other the hard questions. That's
they
what I
do
like.
ask each other the hard questions. That's
Yeah.
right. Do you like it when I smash these crabs,
Exactly.
or would you prefer that I
Exactly.
spear them? Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then finally, it says that the mantis shrimp are eaten in Japanese, Cantonese, Vietnamese, Mediterranean, Filipino, and Hawaiian cuisines. After cooking them, their flesh is closer to that of lobsters than shrimp. In Asian culture, they're often deep fried with garlic and chili. You know what? I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame to eat these guys because they are so fascinating and brilliant
Yeah.
and eat I don't like what eat a regular shrimp. They don't do much. Like, they do mess with the ecosystem if we're going to overfish them, but, like, I don't know, leave these guys, they're awesome.
But they're so tasty. Yeah,
So tasty with garlic and chili
right.
oil, yes.
The key is balance, not to,
That's right.
not to
That's
exploit
right.
them. Like, if McDonald's puts them on the menu, it's all over. That's it. And,
Yeah,
over
really.
38,000,000 no, no, that was the cancer cure. No, no.
Yeah,
Wrong
right, like,
side.
maybe study them,
Mhm.
okay, and then when their lifespan is done after studying them, then eat them with chili and oil.
Yeah.
Wild. I thought this one was so
That was great.
fascinating. I
That was great.
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna read up about them now. Yeah.
the thing about the, ocean is that there's millions of species, so I could keep this segment going for years,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You will never guarantee you will never run out. Yeah.
and every one of them is just as weird as the one
Mhm.
before, so,
Mhm.
yeah, the mantis fish, specifically the rainbow mantis fish, they're beautiful, they're smart, they know how to detect cancer, they can Hulk smash anything, so, yeah, do some research on the mantis shrimp. All right,
Great.
let's hear it. Oh, this is me again. Oh, okay. Sorry. Just dive right into it here. So, we need to discuss here the Billboard charts greatest songs
Sure.
of all time. We've been doing it counting down from 100. It was supposed to just be the top 10 and I thought, "You know what? Why the heck don't we just do the top 100?"
Okay. Yeah.
So, I believe we've done 40 as of right now. So, right now we are doing number 60 to 41.
Okay.
So again, this is not my opinion by any means. This comes from Billboard
Oh,
charts. I don't
okay.
agree with all of them.
Of course.
They base this off of, airplays and time on the charts and the 100 or top 10 or whatever. Number 60, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. Great song.
Okay.
Great. Number 59, No One by Alicia Keys, which is bizarre because that song was in my head this morning and I have no idea why because I did not look at this list.
Look at
I
that. All
was
right.
just thinking it. Weird.
That's interesting.
Number 58, Candle in the Wind, the 1997 Princess Diana version from
Can I
Elton John.
veto? Do I get a veto?
I
Sorry.
don't like that one, eh?
No, no. But
I know.
hey, look, it's in there. My clearly my opinion is in the minority. So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I don't love all of them. I do like this list that there is a serious mix, and you will hear it in this next top 10 here. But a lot of them I'm like, "No, there's no way." But,
Yeah.
number 57, Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. That was a huge hit about 10, 11 years ago. This one, how did this make the list? Number 56, Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen. This came up with Ira and I last week. I hate this song.
Yeah.
I hate it. Number 55, Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb.
Mm,
I don't actually know that one.
I don't know.
Number 54, this is a great one. I Wanna Hold Your Hand by the Beatles.
The Beatles sounds familiar. I don't
Yeah, I
do
think
they
they
have
were popular in maybe the 60s.
great tune. I'm glad that made it.
Yes, and I'm guessing that they're gonna be in the top 20 for sure, a lot
Yeah,
more of their songs.
yeah.
Number 53, I do not know this one. It's All in the Game by Tommy Edwards.
Know it.
No, don't know it, no. Number 52, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree by Dawn featuring Tony Orlando.
Tony Orlando, I remember that from my childhood. Yeah, that was very popular in the
It
70s.
that sounds like a very wholesome song. I know
Very
it, I've heard
wholesome,
it.
very popular, and then revitalized after I forget if it was Persian Gulf War 1 or 2,
Oh,
because to signify the return of the soldiers, people tie a yellow ribbon, come home to us, and then that's what that's the song.
interesting.
I mean,
Okay, so it
it's
has
a
a bit of a
pleasant,
double meaning.
it's a sweet tune, you know.
Interesting. This is going to have a very polarized reaction as it
Okay.
does. Number 51, How You Remind Me by Nickelback. Now, I personally really like Nickelback. They're from about 3 hours away from where I live, same
Oh,
province.
okay.
Um, eh, People here hate them. People hate Nickelback here, and I don't know why. They're hometown heroes.
Yeah, hate is
I
strong.
like
Yeah.
I like their music. Maybe they don't like the way the lead singer is. He's a bit take or leave him. But I mean, they're a great band. But yeah, thanks, Ron. That is a great song. I agree. Okay, number 50. I love this one. Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson.
No,
Love
yeah.
that song. I love that. 49 is Mood by 24 Karat Golden featuring Ian Dior. I don't even know what that is. I don't
Mm,
even think I've ever heard of that. It looks like when I zoom in, it's like electronic music. So interesting that that made the
mhm,
list. Number 48, Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. I could see
okay,
that for
okay,
sure. Number 47, Night Fever by the Bee Gees. I could
okay.
see that.
Remember that?
46, Let's Get It On, Marvin Gaye. Great song. And more Paul McCartney here. Number 45, Silly Love Songs by Wings. I
Yeah,
love anything by Wings.
it's
I
good.
almost
Just no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I almost like them better than Beatles.
Ah, well, look at that.
It's
Okay.
I know that's another polarizing thought. I like them differently than I like the Beatles.
They did some great songs, Wings. I'll give them their due.
I they're just so weird and catchy. Like,
Mhm.
the mind of Paul McCartney is so bizarre, but
Yes.
I love
Oh
it.
my god. And I love it because you never know, right? What's gonna
No.
come out next. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the originality we were talking about. You
Yes.
know, not just there was the Beatles, but they could still write tunes where they're all not gonna sound the same. They're gonna
Yeah.
pop in a distinctive way. And yeah, McCartney and Lennon were probably the best writers of the in the genre and maybe
Oh,
any
but
other genre.
I like George Harrison too, though. He
Yeah,
wrote some
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah.
Ringo, I don't know what he did, but just kidding. Okay, number 44, Truly Madly Deeply, Savage Garden. That brings me right back to my childhood. Number 43, One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boys to Men. I do not know that song. Number 42, The Battle of New Orleans, Johnny Horton. And the last one for our list today is number 41, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus.
Okay.
So a very interesting mix
Oh,
of
sure.
music
Yeah, right
on
in
this
the
list.
middle of that 100. Yeah. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's peculiar, but I'm excited to see the other ones. I haven't looked at any of the other people on the list. I know who number 1 is, and I was angry, so I stopped looking.
Ah,
Um, so I
damn
actually
you,
have no idea
Billboard.
who's
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "That cannot be correct."
Y
Alright, let's get into your last topic here, and then we will close up for the day.
we have
Top 5
time?
Christmas carols according to you. I
According to
know that
me.
Ron did one
Yeah,
recently,
inspired
and,
me.
you didn't
Okay.
like it. Let's
No,
hear
no,
it.
no. I know I did, but mine's very yeah, just very different. No, there were
Yours is better.
definitely I mean, I love Christmas carols, so there's so much to like, but when I think of the ones that I love that get me excited that I'll listen to over and over again. So, with number 5, secular tune, "Sleigh Ride" by Leroy Anderson, preferably
Okay,
without there are lyrics to it, but I like any orchestral version of it.
of
It's a
course. I
delightful
figured.
wintry song. Yeah, and, if one likes music, it's a lesson in orchestration if you
Mhm,
listen. It's
mhm.
just a delight. So, okay. Number 4, 12 Days of Christmas.
Okay.
It's so much fun, sometimes for all the wrong reasons, but it yeah, it's just fun, funny, delightful, and harkens back to another era. And so I like
Mhm.
the holidays. All
Yeah.
right, now my list is going to get weird. Number 3 is Personant Hodie, and that is a Finnish
Okay.
song from maybe the 15th century, and it's in
Mm,
Latin. And I think one of the lines translates loosely into Dancing Day, but it is such a beautiful melody. Once you
mm,
hear it, you will never unhear it. I own dozens of recordings of it, but my favorite one it comes from I think Finland, and it's a girls' choir and accompanied by only a harp. And
mm.
let me tell you, that's good. Christmas any time of year. Personal hodie
Oh,
is
so how do
wonderful.
I spell that? I wanna look this up.
Sure,
Mhm. Yep.
Personent, and
Mhm.
hodie is HODIE. When we're
Okay.
joking about it, called Personate Hoodie.
Right.
But, but you will not be disappointed. All right,
What's
number
the song? The specific
person on Houdie. Yeah,
No,
that's it.
but what oh, that's the song name? That's
That's a
not a
song name.
person's name?
Yeah, no, that's a
Okay.
song name. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the song name.
Cool. I'm
2 in
gonna
2
listen
words.
as soon as possible.
Hodie is the second word. All right, number
Oh
2, the Wexford Carol.
oh,
Beautiful, beautiful
Westford
song,
Carol.
probably from Wales. I actually won't have time to go into all the information, but my
Yeah,
favorite recording is by Ronan Tyler. He was one of the original Irish tenors,
okay.
and his version of it is indispensable. Runner up is Mary Fall's version of it. She was a member of a group called October Project, which was big in the 90s, and then they sort of faded. But Mary Fall, Fahl, you would do well, anyone
Okay.
listening, to go look her up. And her version of that, of Wexford Carol, is also beautiful. And I think I might have inspired her to record it. Can't say for sure, but I might have. Another story. And my number one is "Oh Holy Night." My first memory of hearing it is at the Radio City Hall Christmas Spectacular as they're
Mhm.
recreating the Living Nativity, and then a soprano would come out, reveal herself as the angel, and she would sing "Oh Holy Night." And that song on that stage in that moment, overwhelming. But both the story it tells, the translated lyrics into English, and the music is my favorite.
Mm.
And it's not Christmas till I hear Franco
Oh,
Corelli
holy
sing
night.
"Oh Holy Night."
Oh, I love it. That is a great song, and
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear Personal Hody. I
Hodie,
can't
yes. Yeah.
Hody.
Well, tell me
Right.
what you think. Tell
I
me what you think.
will.
Uh,
I have that one and the Wexford Carol queued up already on my computer, so I'm gonna listen to them whenever we're off
Marvelous.
here.
Yeah.
I am excited. Well, I like that list. It's very you from what I've learned
Yeah, it's me.
of you.
It's me,
It
for
is
better or
very
worse.
you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are genuinely Martin, and I
yeah.
love it.
No one else wants to be, so it has to be.
Hey, that's
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you,
Love
Becky.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I a great show today.
Yes.
Join us tomorrow. It'll be me and Ira. And
Excellent.
today's show I think had a very um grown up feel to it. Tomorrow's show, not so much
Not so
because
much.
I'm bringing you some ridiculous stories, one about an MRI mishap. So,
Oh, dear.
you'll
Oh, I
definitely
wanna
want to
tune
tune
into
in
that. Yeah.
for that.
Okay.
And also that one I was talking about, Taylor Swift, is she causing divorces? I'm gonna be discussing that. So
Okay.
join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on all of your favorite platforms. So have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day. You too, Becky. Have a good day.